evening and welcome to Veterans Talk, The Forgotten Promise. This is Jim Littner along with R.J. Doe and our special guest this evening, Colonel Harry Riley. Talking to Colonel Riley out of Washington with Operation American Spring. Good evening, Colonel. How you doing?
Hey, Jim. How you doing? I'm doing fine.
Well, it's been a crazy few weeks here in the United States with the way our veterans are being treated. How do you see things going there in Washington with Operation American Spring?
Well, we started out last Friday. The Lord gave us a little liquid sunshine to get it started. Sunshine has been on us ever since. We've had a good crowd. Not the numbers that we hoped for, but the attitude and the sacrifice that we've seen made so far has been encouraging, and we just thank God that we're able to be here in D.C. challenging the lawless government that we have in D.C., challenging the Congress who's failing to abide by their oath and handle their responsibilities in accordance with the Constitution. The effort is going to be ongoing until either the Lord moves us out or until we get it sorted and straightened out.
Well, Colonel Riley, for the listeners that may not know what Operation American Spring is, give us your mission statement.
Basically, our mission statement is to challenge the lawless leadership in Washington, D.C., to restore our Constitution. The way we want to do that is we believe that the only way that we can do it is to remove the key leadership, because the key leadership, they're the ones that are basically driving us down the path to a socialist communist government. We decided that the only way we could do that would be that we'd field a gigantic number of patriots here in Washington, D.C. that would not allow the leadership to misunderstand exactly how the American people feel. We see Obama waving his pen in the air and his phone and challenging and basically shaming Congress to do what he wants, or he'll do it himself. So if that's not a clear, arrogant indication of a lawless government, a failure of the principles that our founding fathers gave us of three equal branches of government with oversight responsibilities of one of each other, I don't know what is.
Okay.
So, we don't see the Congress at all doing anything about their oversight responsibilities of the executive. If they would exercise what the Constitution requires of the Congress, then we wouldn't have all of this debt that's going up, the health care changes, law going one way or the other. We never know what from day to day, which laws will be in effect.
Well, from your perspective, what do you see happening? And let's get specific here. What do you see happening with our veterans? You're certainly military, as we all are here. And as an example, here recently, 40 American veterans left to die waiting for VA in Phoenix. Now it's spread throughout the system. It's throughout the country. They've got it up to at least a couple of 100 veterans that they feel have died because they're on a waiting list.
Yeah, Jim, it's another indication of the total incompetence, the total rejection of we the people by the government in Washington, D.C. They do not care about anybody. They don't care about our veterans. They don't care even about the people. All they care about is their own troughs that we keep it full with tax dollars. Now, I just had a meeting yesterday with Jeff Miller, Representative Jeff Miller. He's the chairman of the Veterans Committee. And we asked him about our veterans and what he was going to do. And, he said he was having meetings. We asked him specifically about Sincheki, the chairman general that when anybody, that's the problem in Washington. Nobody is held accountable. They can do whatever they want to. They can ignore. They can allow our veterans to die, and nobody thinks it's worth holding somebody accountable, getting somebody that will bite the bullet and get things fixed. So, you know, in Washington, it's just business as usual. They don't get too excited about anything. Even our veterans who are dying because of this, and the Veterans Administration budget, I think it's about the third largest budget in the entire, budget.
It's the second or third largest in this country. That's right.
Yeah,
that's correct.
The other thing that we're trying to do is, we're getting ready. We've had a silent protest over at the White House about the Benghazi loss. We went over there and basically turned our backs on the White House and shamed them. And now, sometime this week, we're planning on getting another group together and going back over there. And the same thing with regard to our Marine, who is right now a prisoner in Mexico.
Right, exactly.
With all due respect to all the girls that are captured in Africa, our first responsibility is to our own citizens, and they should be doing whatever it takes to get our Marine, our veteran, back from Mexico, rather than putting all the emphasis on the young girls in Africa, as shameful and terrible as that is.
Well,
Colonel
we
Riley,
also have Bo being held in Iran.
Burbergdahl.
You bet.
That's right. There's other of our troops that are held, captured, and the Obama administration, the Congress, the courts, they've totally turned the power structure in America upside down. Instead of we the people being the power, sending our representatives, making them toe the line, it's just the opposite. All the power is in the feds. They come down and push the states, and they totally ignore we the people. So we're in a crisis in America. Our government is in chaos. The longevity of our nation is in doubt. And that's why we're trying to impress on Americans that this may be our only chance that we have to field millions of people in Washington, D.C. to try to show that the people had enough. We've presented Congress with grievances, with a package of grievances, and even articles of impeachment, which it's a symbol that he has to go. And we probably sent, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of electronic submissions of the same packet to all the Congress. But if we don't get millions of people to stand in Washington, D.C. that will validate what it is we said we want, then it's just going to be another package of papers that basically they'll just throw in the trash can. Basically what we're asking for, and we believe God has put us on this path, that we wouldn't be still doing this if he wasn't behind us, because we've got no money, we've got nobody at the high levels supporting us, we've got no corporations, we've got no donation buttons on our websites. It's just grassroots, people with heart and sacrifice that has come to Washington, D.C. And we're going to stay up here until either something happens, some miracle happens, our people just phase out, that they can't stand the sacrifice, God removes us or something. But this is too critical to stop. I know we've got the 2 million bikers coming in here at the end of this week, and we've also got I'm so tired that the other bicycle group, Thunder.
Oh, Rolling Thunder, yes.
Rolling Thunder.
All right.
And they both endorsed Operation like Glenn Beck that have picked up on something that was calling us a bunch of individuals who were looking for trouble. We wanted to cause a violent reaction of some sort. It's just the opposite. The police have been bending over backwards. Any place we want to march, the park police open the, close the traffic, let us go across the streets. The same thing with the D.C. police. They're totally behind us. They said if anything happens in there, you can bet we got your back. So we just need folks to come up. We can't do it without the American people. If the American people do not get up here and stand with us on the mall where we've got a kind of a setup we call Camp Victory, Camp Liberty, where we can fill them all up with Americans demanding that this charade that's coming out of the administration and Congress be stopped. We're asking for Obama and Biden and Reid and McConnell, Boehner, Pelosi, and Eric Holder just to step down. That's the only way we believe we can begin constitutional restoration, because they're the cancer right now that is having their way, that the Congress and the courts are allowing them to act as a dictator, a king. They act like a crown. And we went through that once in 1700s, and we don't want to go through that again. But if we don't get some change, then I fear that the worst could happen.
Well, I think you're right. I'm glad to see. First of all, I think there was a lot of bad publicity when this first started, when Operation American Spring first started, that they felt there was a lot of the radicals and crazy people that would show up, and I'm glad to hear this is not political. This is not Democrat or Republican or Tea Party. This is awareness, and we want people to step up and say, we want to restore our Constitution. We want the promises that were made to us to be kept. And I believe that's what I'm hearing you say. I know I've talked to Rick, who's one of the people from here that came to Washington to support this. And he has indicated in the half a dozen phone calls that this has been very, very peaceful. Anything that even looks like it's going to be violence, they put a stop to it right away. They're trying to make awareness. They're trying to make people aware. And I agree. I think that we have an election coming up in November, and I think it's going to be a critical one. And that's the time to make the change, and if we make people aware, which is what you're doing right now, in a few months we can make the changes and make them correctly. The last midterm elections, the silent majority woke up, and I think you're about to see that silent majority wake up again and make the changes necessary to put the Constitution back in the forefront.
Well, we're absolutely praying for that, and Rick is absolutely correct. And him and his security people are having a big impact, a big influence on our internals, and working directly with the park police, the D.C. police. And yeah, we did have one little incident where somebody got a little aggressive and decided they wanted to kick at what's it called, a restraining piece of whatever it's called along the road, and right away our security grabbed him and got him under control, and before the park police, D.C. police, and they just folded right back. And there's been nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. It's completely peaceful, and that's what we're doing. We're trying to make people aware. It's not about any change in our government at all. The Founding Fathers gave us a great structure. It's worked for us ever since our nation was, ever since our Constitution, Declaration of Independence was enacted. And it's not a coup. Basically, it's what we want to see is accountability by what we believe is lawless elected leaders. And I'm hit every once in a while. Well, wait a minute there, Colonel. These people were elected. Why are you trying to take them out? Well, you know what? Elected leaders are elected to do the right thing, to be honest, to be honorable. But when they fall away from their constitutional responsibilities, then they have to be held accountable. It's like anybody else. You drive down the road too fast, you may have never had a ticket in your life. But if you violate the law and you're stopped, then the policeman might give you a ticket. There's a consequence. So these people have done so bad that they deserve to be removed. They should be taken out somewhat. I mean, wait, let me rephrase that. They should be replaced. The whole administration, and it's Republican and Democrat.
Oh, I agree.
Absolutely no difference. They're all the same. They're just a slight little difference, and just to make us believe that we have a loyal opposition in Congress. We do not. John Boehner is weak. I've talked to congressmen up since we've been up here that have tried to take him out, but there's a certain element that just want to keep their nose in the trough. They're making $170,000 or $6,000 a year plus all the perks. They're all millionaires, and it's a crime scene. That's what it is in the U.S. Capitol, in the administration, even in the courts.
We've developed another class of people. It's what's happened, and we have people voting for what's supposed to be best for us, while they exempt themselves from it. And we have to stop that. It is for the people, by the people, not the other way around. And that's the government, I'm afraid, that we have presently. Particularly, and we're more specific, our show has to do specifically with our veteran community. We're all disabled veterans that do the show and have our Veterans Care Foundation. And I'll tell you, we are getting screwed royally. And when we see our veterans dying because they can't give us the care, they'd rather let the people die and get their bonuses than to care for our veterans, then you're right, we have a system that needs some big change.
Well, I thought, a few years ago that VA was on the mend. But basically, it's the same attitude in VA seems to be across the nation. It's an attitude of let someone else do it, or it won't affect me. Well, some of these folks in the VA system, they're retreads, they're retired from somewhere, and they're just looking for someplace they can retire in place and ignore the health care of our veterans. I've seen people in the veterans clinic where I used to go to over in Pensacola. You'd have people twiddling their thumbs, doing nothing, and vets standing in line waiting. They just had an attitude of don't bring your silly ass problem to me. It's almost that bad.
RJ, you have some questions?
Yeah, I have a question for you, Colonel Riley, and that is, a lot of us, there's disabled vets out there, and we cannot afford to just drop everything and go to Washington. What can we do on our end to show our support for American Spring as far as getting back to the Constitution and the way this nation used to be?
Okay. Can your listeners take down some toll-free numbers?
Sure.
Okay, we have 3 toll-free numbers here that what people, no matter what, I don't care if you're a veteran, I don't care if you're a young person, but that you feel a heart for our veterans, that you feel a heart for our nation, you can take these 3 toll-free numbers down and call your congressman. Here they are: 866-220-0044, 877-762-8762, or 866-72-6622. Read them if you need, but basically this will get you to the Capitol switchboard, the toll-free numbers to the Capitol switchboard. When the operator answers, all you have to do is tell her who you would like to speak to. Representative so-and-so from Arizona. Senator so-and-so from Arizona. If you don't know who your senator is, just tell them where you live or give them your zip code, and they will connect you. They'll tell you who your senator or your representative is. You need to call them and tell them that we need to have accountability in our VA system. It needs to be repaired. There needs to be some head rolled. We need corrections that are for Congress. We need to be respectful, but we need to be resolved and determined so that they know what we're saying. Now, this is an easy thing to do. Every husband, a wife, everybody can call in there, flood them with phone calls. Let them know that the people out here are irritated, we're upset, We're tired of being stepped on. This is a situation where we, the people, are totally being ignored. They treat us like pests. They consider us a nuisance. Even our warriors who put their life on the line, we know what happens when we take an oath. It means we put our life on the line. A politician doesn't seem to realize that. If you need any of those toll-free numbers repeated, let me know.
We got them, and in fact, we will repeat them here. It's toll-free numbers 866-220-0044, 877-762-8762, or 866-272-6622. Flood that White House switchboard with them. Let them know. And more importantly, or every bit as important, we have an election coming up in November. That's not very many months from now. There's 9 million veterans in this healthcare system. Get out there and get off your duffs, as our other co-host says, as a retired a warrant officer. Get off your butts and get out there and get something done instead of just sitting and complaining about it. Be proactive. 9 million veterans voting plus their families. That's a big impact. And it's time we let people know that we're unhappy about it.
Absolutely. I don't know what else I can say except that, our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren are about to inherit what it is that's coming down the path. And I don't think any of us want to see that to happen. The only way we can do it, we can stand up now or we can surrender. And I don't think anybody, at least the veterans, are going to even think about surrendering. So, whether we get to, I hope we get to November, but I'll tell you, things are pretty dicey.
Well, they're dismantling our military. We had 9 generals fired last year, 29 the year before. We have an officer a month being fired. We've demoralized our troops. I can't imagine how much worse it could get other than total chaos, and I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope we vote these birds out and put people in that will be accountable.
Well, that's what we have to do right now. Like I say, the attitude in Congress is, they're too timid. They're so absorbed with their incestuous protection of each other that they, the first thing my rep said, not the first thing, but we talked a little bit about, some issue that was kind of, you might say, challenging, and he said, we got to be very careful because we want to get Republicans elected. And I told him, I said, Congressman, we don't care about Congress, about Republicans or Democrats. We want to get people elected that obey the Constitution, that obey the rule of the law.
Well, once you're elected, you're not Democrat or Republican. You're an American, and you're supposed to represent America. And that's what our politicians are missing. I've said it before, and I'll say it one more time. I believe there should be term limits. The first one in Washington and the second one in prison, because after the first term, it seems like they're ruined.
You nailed it there.
Colonel Riley.
I'm going to have to go, Jim. We're heading back to home right now, and I appreciate being with you. Sorry I can't stay longer, but God bless you for what you're doing, and we're going to do everything we can for every American, and certainly none deserve to be treated fairly than our veterans, especially those who have been wounded, disabled, and need what they've earned.
Well, I assure you that, in fact, the guy that's there with you, working with you and Rick, he's the reason I started this show 4 years ago, because of the way he was treated when he came back from the Gulf War. Quite a story there, but you can see he's as much a patriot as any of them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's been a key guy, and we've I'll tell you, we couldn't have done it without these security guys that come on and are assisting us. So we're hoping. I know Rick's going to be here, I think, about another week, but we'd like to keep him.
I understand.
We're here, which we can't.
Well, Colonel, one final question for you. RJ, you got one final question for the Colonel?
Yes, we were promised transparency by this administration and all the other people in the administration, but we see this with the VA, that the VA does an investigation on itself, especially about these secret lists and the death of veterans. Do you think that at least American Spring will provide the fervor to get to transparency so we can see what's going on?
Well, we can, but we can't do it with with a few hundred or a few thousand. We've got to have big numbers to get the attention of these people. I mean, they're hardcore. They look at us and say, well, they're out there, but the American people really don't care because they're not out there with them. The only way we can make an impact, and I know people can't get here. People are hurting. I know people, are either they may be old, they may be, monetarily challenged, physically challenged, but somehow we've got to get a large number, and we've got them out there. But they're, what it takes to punch the ticket to get millions up here, God only knows. But we have tried. We have done everything we possibly could for 4 or 5 months now, trying to raise the awareness. So we're going to do our best.
Well,
and
Colonel,
I don't think we can do any more. We're going to do our best.
I think you're doing a great job from what I'm understanding, and with Rolling Thunder coming in here in short order, I believe they will start to see the numbers. And most of those guys at Rolling Thunder are certainly veterans.
Amen.
So.
Yes, we're locked with them, and we know we'll have to wait and see.
All right, sir. Well, Colonel Riley, we thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us. We hope to talk to you in the near future, and take care of that Rick. He'll do a good job for you. All right, see you soon. Thank you much. And that's Colonel Harry Riley with American Spring, a great patriot, a man that's really bent over backwards to get the word out. So we hope to be talking to him here in the future. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week at the same time.